Hello, 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 hello. We're doing a Wednesday night before Team 8 does theirs. Uh, Fuck, we got a work hat on because we don't care. Ideal Supply. Got to nap of that shit up. Just waiting for. What's up, Johnny Utah? Just going to wait for Cass to join us. We have Cass tonight. Let's see if I can find her here. Wow. So I'm just going to wait for her to jump in. Hi, welcome to the Riding Dirty No Excuses podcast. I'm your host, RDNX Stunts. We have Cass on here tonight. That is from, and there she is. Now, just need her to send me the invite. I'll send her an invite. No request. We'll get it. What's up? Accept. Go live. Here we are.
Okay, I think I requested it.
There you are. You're there.
I'm definitely here. All the way in Florida.
Oh, lucky you.
I
It's
know.
nice and warm there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty nice right now that the sun went down, but yeah, I can't complain, but I'm from Minnesota, so I think we can probably relate on a lot of that for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's warm today. I'd say probably like 60s, 65, something like that.
Do you guys ride year round, like even in the snow? Because when I lived in Minnesota, I never saw people riding in like the fall or the winter at all.
So, all the way across Ontario that I know of, um, there are people that do ride year round. I have a few in my small town that actually ride because we have the Honda plant for for their cars and shit. So there's a lot of small town guys that are like they get DUIs and shit, so they end up on scooters and they ride bike all year round. We have some guys that ride in on like supermotos and adventure trail bikes and stuff like that. You'll see them middle of winter. And our winters have gotten more mild, obviously, probably even in Minnesota and even New York. I was talking to Timbo and he's like, bro, it's supposed to be like 70 tomorrow. He's like, and that normally doesn't happen. I'm like, I get that. I get that. Um, I'll ride all year round myself. I try to, I won't ride the streets. I don't trust anything around me. So, you know, but I'll go hit a lot. Uh, if there's no snow, which like the last 10 Christmases, there's been no snow, I usually go and hit a lot and I practice on whatever I have. You know, big bike, small bikes, whatever. So let's talk about you. Let's talk about Prison Break.
Okay.
Well, we'll start from the beginning. What got you into bikes and what got you into photography?
Yeah, I actually started shooting when I was in the military. So I was in the Army for 11 years. And the first 8 years, I was in an armored transportation company. So, like, driving trucks and doing, like, logistics, which is not really my thing, honestly. And then I had a chance to, like, rank up and get a new job. So I was able to then go to school and learn how to, like, shoot photos and do interviews, edit, videography. It's like a 6-month school. It's really long, and it has, like, a 60% pass rate, so a lot of people like drop out throughout. Yeah, it's you only get you only get 2 times to pass each exam. So if you fail it the first time, you have to take it again, and the second time you have to get an 80% or you go home. So like you start the class with like 100, and then by the time you graduate, there's like 64 people that graduated. So yeah, so that was how I learned how to start shooting, and I did that in the Army for about a year. And then I was about to go to Iraq and do that, like do journalism overseas. But then that's when they did the vaccine mandate for the COVID vaccine. So when I refused the vaccine, they kicked me off of the deployment and they barred me from reenlistment. So at that point, you know, I was like, all right, no worries. Like, I'm gonna just buy my own camera and like move to Florida. And I did. So yeah, that's kind of how that happened. I was like really disappointed at the time because, as I told you, I'd spent more than a decade in the military, like building that career. And so to get out, like pretty much against my will was just like unfortunate. But, you know, like God always has a plan. So it ended up working out. And then with the bikes, that was also pretty random too. Like I was not into any of that at all. When I lived in Minnesota, I never even really saw people like riding or stunting in that way. When I moved to Florida, the only person I know was a local rapper named Dior Ding, and he asked me to come out and shoot photos for his music video. So because I had just moved here, I just bought the camera and started trying to like shoot. I was like, sure, like I'll do it, whatever you need. So I went to the shoot. He ended up having like bikers, like four-wheelers and like supermotos, like in doing like stunts in the back of his music video. And so I obviously took photos of them too. And I was like, wow, like that like was really great. You know, like taking like action photography was, as a photographer, was a really awesome experience. And they ended up like hitting me up again to shoot at another like one of their bike events. And then I guess the rest was history. And that was about like a year ago now.
Oh, to get so for me, how I see it, that's quite a jump because I've been in this 13 years, 12, 13 years. And the guys that you showed out to, like that event, for me, when I see it as being as long as I have and like enjoying sun riding since I was like 10, 11 years old when I seen guys. And like that was like a huge event in my eyes. And like those guys there are like the best of the best within the state, and like obviously Lithuania, Brazil, these guys are coming out of, and it was just insane. So to have one of that in your first year, 2 years, be part of something like that was pretty wild. Ooh, look, I haven't even had dinner yet, and I got it brought to me.
Whatever you got to do.
That's
Yeah,
it.
no, it's
Go ahead.
sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, it's honestly pretty funny because I went to the Prison Break event last year, but it was called Winter Vacation,
Yeah.
and it wasn't like in the prison. Did you go last year?
So I didn't get a chance to go last year. I wanted to, and because I had seen everything, and I follow all these guys like Drew's. Uh, oh, oh man, Gage. My buddy's been friends with Gage for. God, Gage was like such a little guy. I think he's about the same age as my son. Maybe he's a year or two older. But they're like, eh, to go last year. I didn't make the time because I had gone to Florida for New Year's because my wife's family lives in like St. Pete's area, Bradenton, St. Pete's. So we went there. So by the time I came back, I didn't have enough time to get my cash re-rolled up, get the bike set up, and then go back out.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I heard last year, it was insane. But what we had this year was just anarchy everywhere.
Yeah, last year it was, like I said, it was called Winter Vacation, and it was mostly just the stunt event, like at the pad.
Yeah.
And there, we weren't allowed to go in the prison side, but we brought like our mini bikes. Like I have a little 49cc, just like a tiny mini bike.
Yeah.
And my boyfriend at the time, he also had a mini bike. So we were just like ripping around in between, and we found like a hole that was like ripped in the fence. So we took our mini bikes that you wouldn't have been able to fit like, and you know, a street bike or whatever. We took our little mini bikes and got through the fence, and then we were just like, oh wow, this is amazing. It's an abandoned prison. There was like no one else back there. It was just us, and I had my camera, so I was just taking some photos. We go into one of the buildings, and there's like a couple guys in there like doing like circle wheelies, like right in there where like the guards would be.
Yeah.
And so I just take out my camera and start like snapping because I'm like, oh, like that's cool. Like they're in the prison doing all this. And I didn't get a chance to like exchange like my information or anything. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll find them after. Like I can ask other people. And they rode away, didn't say anything to us. And then after they left, like the person I was with, he's like, do you know who that was? I was like, oh no, I had no idea because I was so new to bike life. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, that was Brian 636. Like, and I was like, oh, like that's crazy. So yeah, so that was pretty cool. So I got to take photos of Brian 636 like last year and sent it to him. So that was pretty exciting. And yeah, so this year when I heard they were actually doing the event like in the prison, I was like, oh, that'll be perfect.
Oh yeah. Like seeing Bill Dixon do his thing, like he's like I've known like I think I've been following for years. He's an R6 guy originally, Yamaha, and that's like my favorite bike. You know, it's always just it's the sexiest bike. I don't care. Everyone hates them. It's one of those bikes that people are like, oh, it's too twitchy, too twitchy. But it's just, hey, you can't handle the smoke, you know, get out of the
True.
kitchen.
It's true.
Oh,
It's true. Everyone has
yeah,
their preference.
right? Like a lot of these guys, it used to be originally was Gixxers. Gixxers when I first started seeing stunting, and that was like 2004, 3, 4, maybe, I think, maybe even '01. I seen it. They were using Gixxers. That was like the thing. Now it's Cowies, 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 Cowies. You get the F4i guys, the guys that love the F4is, but Cowie everything nowadays. I maybe see a handful of Gixxers, and then it's even less guys riding Yamahas.
Yeah.
But
Well,
we're
everyone has their preference for sure.
right. So you got in to the, I guess to be D block, I think it was the one we weren't in there, but it was I'd say the better one of all the cell blocks because I think all the lights and everything still worked in that one. The one that we did the mini night, the first and second night, everybody went into, and it was pretty
Yeah.
much just everybody drifting and
I was
slamming
only
into
there on
stuff.
Saturday night.
Saturday,
Yeah.
Saturday. Okay. So I
Yeah.
thought, I think they did. I know a bunch of us went back in Saturday night, and then all I know is at 4 or 5 in the morning, I woke up and there was guys still hitting limiter, and I was like, "Oh, I guess we're still riding."
Why
So,
not? You're camping.
right,
Camping out.
it was good though. It got cold. Saturday night got cold. I was very surprised how cold it got. The whole
Yeah.
week that I was there, it was just beautiful. Are you making next year or possibly the next one, I should say, because from what I hear, Drew's is thinking of doing multiple events.
Yeah, I
Next
mean,
year.
they asked me to come. Like James and Andrew asked me.
Yeah,
So if I'm offered a media pass again, of course I'm gonna come.
excellent.
But I'm at the point now I don't like shoot things for free. I'm just not at that point anymore. So like I said, if I get a media pass, I'm there, and so that's why I came this time. But we also came with like a big group that we had all like pit bikes, mini bikes, even
Excellent.
a go-kart and the Suron. So that makes it fun to like camp out and bring the bikes for sure.
Oh, that's probably the best part about it, bringing all the bikes, because then you get to, meet people. Like I was trying to explain to a lot of the guys that are from up here that were like, oh man, I don't want to go to an event where I'm just like locked in and I can't do anything. And I'm like, guys, it's not what you think.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's more than like, you wake up and there's already bikes. Like people are out riding, going through the prison, taking shots, going into, certain spots. Like we did that. We went to the bathrooms and we did a whole bunch of stuff in there, joke interview video footage you can get. Everybody was doing a cell shot, which was cool because you got to see everybody's different view of it. Everybody has different eye, right? And that's what I like. So Drew Photos has got his eye, how he
Hmm.
captures. You know, you got Cubano who kills it as well. Schoolhouse, everybody's got the shots. You as well. Everybody has a certain way they take a shot and they see the rider or the object or whatever they're shooting. And to be seeing all the different shots that have come out of it, out of this prison break,
Hmm.
was just amazing. And like they all tell a story. You know, it doesn't tell what happened
The full
because
story, not the
right,
full
that's
story.
what the full story is. Just there's so much. Like even I fell asleep on Saturday night because I was just so tired from driving all the way my 24-hour drive all the way down, hanging out, going and visiting people all the way through Miami, then going over here, then going over there. Then we met up at the prison, and then it's just you're outside all day hammering on the bikes. You're jumping from big bike to little bikes to going and watching people for a little bit. Then someone starts an event, so you run over to do like watching the stoppies. Obviously, watching Jesse Toller, Bill Dixon, and that going hard. Toller's just like one of the top guys of rolling. Like I think I've heard of them doing like 800 plus feet. It's just to see it is even more amazing. It's always great to see it on video or through someone's eyes, such as yourself, you
Hmm.
know. But it never captures like the moment when they go by you and they're just screaming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Of course, I mean that's the whole fun of going to something like that is you can look at all the photos, the videos, but you can't truly replicate like the experience. But I think as a good photographer, that's something I try to bring is like you can really feel like you're there just looking at, which sounds a little bit cliche, but you know, even just like the vibe or like the energy of the group, I try to really like bring that, you know. So yeah, yeah, it was a really good event. Hopefully they have another one in the future. But yeah, trying to take it more like global, like you know, from Miami, you can get on a boat and go to the Bahamas. It's like 3 hours away. So that's been, I guess, a project I'll say I'm working on, talking about is getting together a big group of like bikers as well as like photographers, videographers, creators, and going and you know going to the Bahamas and shooting something there. I think that could be a good collaboration, especially considering like Florida is such a like tropical melting pot. um, yeah, so I think it would be good.
Well, I just did Jamaica in November because one of my guys here has homies there, and I guess he's got family there, and he's like, "Yo, like we're going." One of my guys that came here rode with me, and he's like, "Yo, I like your energy. We need to get you over to Jamaica." And I'm like, "Bro, I'm too broke." I'm like, "Housework. I got a 19-year-old kid. Like, I got things going." They're like, "Nah, it doesn't matter. You're coming." And so I went over, and the vibes are just like, and even through all the footage I posted up, you see it and you can feel it. And it's like crazy there. I was actually just asked from a guy from St. Vincent to go there for their next Independence Day.
That's crazy.
I was
So
and
fun.
my guy just went and they did a bunch of stuff with Big General, Ants at Stunt City. Uh, like these guys are amazing. So I know myself, a Caribbean, Bahamas, something like that. That is definitely something I would like to do. You know,
Sorry, my dog just like yelped. I think she stepped on
uh-oh.
something. Do you want to see my dog? You can meet her.
I love puppies. I have two. I got two pugs at home.
Oh, at home? They're not there with you?
Well, yeah, they're here. I guess I'm at home. We're pretending I'm at a studio. Come on, you know, it's all red messed up in the back.
Come here.
Oh, while we're quickly looking, Ninny Muggins, cast vibes are immaculate. Ninny Muggins says, Stunners etiquette, my guy. What's up? What's up? Changed Man Henderson, stuck to the plan. G37, Ninny Muggins, no Hondas, MDMA 70. Oh, look at that gorgeous puppy.
Thank
Hello.
you. Oh, I think she hurt her paw though. What happened?
I see
Oh,
you. Just like, look at the face on that dog. Just love. You know, for being the scariest dogs in the world, people say they have the saddest looking faces when they're upset.
I know. She always guilt trips me, but she's happy. I promise she's happy. I think she got something in her paw though.
That's never good. I always have to
Yeah, I
look
think
out
she's got a
for
little splinter.
um, ticks in between the paws.
Hmm.
That's probably
Yeah,
the worst thing we get up here. Yeah.
ticks. That's one thing about like Minnesota or that climate in general is like you have to wait like 9 months for it to be warm out, and when it's finally warm out, every insect from like the seventh circle of hell wants to like resurrect. Like, I mean, it's like that in Florida too, but at least it's nice out, you know.
My wife calls them in Florida the no-see-ums because you
They
get
are.
bit
No,
by shit
that's really
and
what they
you don't
are.
get
You can feel it.
seen. Like they're crazy. Yeah, it's just they eat her alive. I went down so last year during during New Year's and everything. I spent my whole time in just shorts and flip flops. That's
That's
it.
the
You know,
Florida.
middle of the night, and like her family's coming and they're like, "It's fucking cold out here." I'm like, you know, it's fucking hot. The sweat beating down my face. I'm like, where is it cold? I'm like, this is wonderful. But like everyone else gets bit. I don't know. I got that blood they don't want. What is it? Minnesota state bird is the mosquito, Ninny Muggins says.
It's true. I'm also drinking a Big Hug, if you've ever seen the
What
Little
is
Hug.
big hug?
It's just like a little juice. I mean, let's be honest, it's probably meant for like children, but I went to
Yo,
the
that
car
is
meet on Friday and I drank one of these and I filled it like this much with like vodka and it was good.
and it
It was a good
works.
vibe all night. Yeah, I was good to go. I was good off that.
I like that. I like that. I like that.
The pictures turned out blurry. No, I'm just kidding. That would not be good.
Yeah, but they
Drink
could
with
be
her.
good pictures, even if they're blurry.
Maybe,
You know, just that, like, I don't know, maybe.
maybe sometimes. It's a little artistic feel, but not too much on that. I try not to go too hard on that. But
So, since you're in Florida and you have like events that are always going around
mhm.
and going on, uh, are there any events that you are possibly going to be going to over this season? I'll call it a season. It's just a year, but this season, is there anything that's caught your eye on the bike
Um,
scene?
I'm not 100% sure what's coming up from summer or for summer. I'll be honest, like last year around this time, we had a big ride out here in the 239, like in Fort Myers for
Yeah,
Easter. And it was really fun, but it was very spicy. Like the cops were like chasing us the whole time. And in a place like Fort Myers, it's like relatively small, you know? So yeah. So a lot of people I think around here they don't really want to ride like that here, like on the streets. So I don't know. Maybe I can try to see what ride outs they have in like Orlando or Tampa. I've never really ridden out or shot in Tampa or Orlando as far as bikes.
well, look up
Or I mean I've
uh,
definitely
Sloppy and Sal and 954 Mitch. They do the
mhm.
Broward on top.
Oh, it's in November, right?
Yeah, there's that one. I know there's a couple on their way coming up, but they always have stuff out there. Like their bike nights are still fucking huge. Like their Thursday night bike nights that Sal and the Wild Riders put on are just like
But they're out
insane.
I think in like Broward or in Miami
Yeah.
somewhere, right? On the East Coast.
It's not that far though. When I see it, it's not
It's
that
about two
far.
hours, but listen, listen. And people, anyone from South Florida in general will know that like the East Coast and over here on the Southwest, have like very different vibes. And as much as I like going out to Miami or Broward to ride and like shoot and, you know, hang out with people, I would never choose to live there. I just feel like there's a different energy, like, so sometimes I'm a little bit selective about what events I go to. As much as we love to ride and,
I
you
get
know, like
that.
run from the cops, sometimes it can really be like life or death. So I'm a little selective about that, but I hear you. I hear you. I'm considering it. I'll consider it depending on how many people ask me like to come, I guess.
Right. Well, there's always lot days going on around there. There's always people that you know, find people can say, and every rider, don't matter who it is, you go into a lot and you say, hey man, I charge this much to friggin' do a session. Every
Hmm.
rider, doesn't matter what one, they'll want it because they're gonna want to have those shots,
Hmm.
you know. And it's a big thing. I've made a bunch of posts for like Drew and Cabano because they've made posts as well. And what I never understood is like I have photographer buddies up here and they do shots all the time. And I'm like, bro, like whatever you need. You ever need something like you need cash? If you need something I can hook you up with, let me know. You need work on your bike. You know, if you're gonna take shots, I don't just want them for free. You know, I want people to understand that your time is just as valuable. I'm a mechanic by trade. You know, I can't charge so much at home to just work on stuff when you come by. You know, if I got to come to your house, I'll charge a little more. You know, and if you don't want to pay my time and you don't think my time's worth it, then guess what? I'm not going to do things for you.
Hmm.
So, and I heard a lot about it over the years, and you know, people should be supporting the people that come out to the lot
Hmm.
or to an event, you know, they're taking your shots. You should be paying them for their fucking time. Editing takes time, you
Yeah.
know, taking those shots, getting the right angles, you know, catching um the random shots, those like I don't know what you call them. It's just the taboo shots where like two guys are sitting there chatting as another rider goes and takes off, and you catch the two riders chatting about something. But that shot is just like it's worth so much. For me, that's eventually what I want to do is take all the shots, like grab a lunch from the prison break. So I'm going to go to each one of you guys, grab my shots, boom, 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 and then I'm going to post them up as like blow up shots. So then that's my background, and wherever I go, I'll have them up, setting up. Because eventually I'm going to do mobile, like we were talking about, and I want to have the whole inside of my trailer covered in shots. Shots of me, shots of riders I've been with, you know, and everybody signed their shots. So then it's a very like bring that community together. We have to bring the community together, you know. And I've been the guy saying it a lot lately that we have to support everybody. Candid shots. A buddy of mine just posted up here. Candid shots.
Hmm.
We have to support each other. You know, yeah, okay, we're riders. We come out, we abuse our bikes, we put all our money into it. You know, doesn't mean we deserve someone else's time and effort for free. You know,
Yeah, I think because of like smartphones, like taking such good pictures, which a lot of them really do, like they take amazing photos. Um, some people don't, I mean, they don't see the value in photography, but, and at first it did frustrate me a little bit last year when I was just starting and I was shooting a lot of things for free and then
yep,
started trying to charge for it like over time.
yep,
But after a while, you just learn, like you said, even being a mechanic, like there's some people who will really value your work and your art, and there's some people that won't. And either way, I never take it personal either way. Like you either value my art and want to see it, that's completely fine. Like we can still be like friends or, you know, homies or whatever. I'm not going to send it to you for free, not anymore, like I said, but because no one respects people who work for free,
that's
let's be honest,
right,
you know, they really
100%.
don't. So, yeah, so that's I think that's something that's hard for photographers like now because of phones and how like you really can get good video footage off like your iPhone, but I also think that there, as you already mentioned, there is a different style that we all can bring to, like the same, we could all take this a picture of the same scene with the exact same camera and all three will turn out completely different. So, um,
100%.
yeah, that's something that I've realized, and especially when I was first starting out and I was watching like the really big bike life photographers that were already out there, like Yellow, I love his work.
Yeah.
Cubano, I'd already seen his work before I even really knew who he was, but I'd seen it. I had seen it. Sig, obviously, like Sig
Sid.
is one of the best known, yeah, shooters in bike life. And of course, I'd be like, oh, like I hope one day my photos can be that good, or can have this many people like appreciating my art, but once I started working with other shooters and like collaborating, we all have something to teach each other. And it's like that's when my business started taking off more, is when I started like really supporting other people's work and like trying to support them. And then in turn, most people have always been supportive back. So I really appreciate that, especially I feel like here in South Florida, like we do have a really good culture where people are willing to like trade and collab, like, oh,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
help you fix this on your bike if you shoot this for me. Like I've experienced the same type of bartering economy, so I really appreciate that part of our culture down here in Florida. Maybe I just didn't experience it in Minnesota. It's too cold to leave your house sometimes, honestly.
Well, Cabano says, hell yeah, Cass is amazing.
Oh, I appreciate it, buddy. Likewise.
Can't capture yourself though while riding, so having someone doing it, doing what you do is top tier.
True.
Exactly. You need it.
Yes.
It's like you said, you're underappreciated if you do things for free. When you start collaborating with people and you start giving that love back and forth and trading,
Sure.
trading knowledge is the most powerful thing in the world. Money is shit.
Right.
You can have all the money in the world, but if you can trade knowledge, you can do more with knowledge in this world than money, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Sure.
being a mechanic, I go to different shops, and every shop I go to, doesn't matter if I have my red seal or I don't have my red seal. Even the other guys I've worked with, they're like, bro, you've taught me and I've taught you. And it's like they could have 30 years and I got 20, even the kids have 5 years. They're learning now at such a pace
Mhm.
that they learn stuff from other mechanics and they bring it with them fast. So you're doing the same thing. When you go out and you work with Cabano or you work with Sig or, like any of these guys, you're learning their moves and you're watching just as I do when I go to Prison Break and, I've been riding 12 years. I can circle my bike. I can do this. I can do that, you know, but these guys I'm watching and I'm learning even more, I don't see their hands doing the work, but I know what their hands are doing and I'm seeing how they move. So I'm like, all right, now I'm going to go home. I'm going to get on a bike and I'm just going to lay it down. I won't think about it. I'll be just like, okay, I watched him do this. So I got to do this so I can perfect this. And then
Mhm.
now next year when I come back or next maybe 2 months, 5 months, whatever they do, you know, when I come back, I can be ready and I can throw down even harder. When I left, I was on my way home thinking of the sickest trick for the next event. I was like, okay, I seen switchbacks, I seen drifting on a Harley, side saddle, hand drags. I
Headstand.
seen, yeah,
The headstand is crazy.
Corey, Corey, my guy, I love Corey so much. So,
Because, like, listen, it's hard to do a headstand just like on the ground. Like, most
right?
people can't even just do that like against a wall. Nonetheless, like a moving vehicle. But yeah, for sure.
He has like an acro is such a there are guys that do acro like
Or the tandems, the tandem as
and
well was crazy.
yo, right, the truth, like combo kids, blah, they did so well.
Yeah.
And I like myself, I've been following them since they both started, and like she has fucking soared. Like, just,
Skills.
and especially this last year, just piling up their tricks. They're just great, and their vibe makes them such great people.
Hmm.
You
And this is me
know?
obviously looking from the outside. I don't like know them personally, but I
Yeah,
think you can tell the people that even if they're not like posting it or whatever, like they're out riding every day. Like they're in the lot every day, practicing
grind,
every day.
grind.
You really can tell the people who are out here every day practicing. Like even if it's not, something they're gonna record and post, they're still outside, and those are the people that. They look really confident, have a good style when they are performing because they just have all that seat time.
Exactly.
You can tell.
So the more you're behind the camera and the more shots you're taking, the better you're gonna be, right? It's the same with
Yes,
us.
of course. And you also saw my new pit bike too, so I'm out
Yeah,
here outside.
110. Let's go.
I know. I'm excited. It's 125. It's the 125.
125. That's the white one, right?
Yeah, the CRF is my buddy's. He just got that, but I have a
Okay,
125, the white one. Yes, and I actually just brought it to the shop. But
nice.
yeah, yeah, it's perfect. It's the perfect size.
Hitters work. They rock, man.
I
And
love small
so I'd
bikes
rack
for some reason. Like personally, I love small bikes. They're just so like fun and cute, and you can ride them like anywhere, like through the mall,
everywhere.
like the beach, yeah, camping. Like that's why I love mini bikes, and like little kids can ride them. It's nothing to be afraid of.
We had a guy up here. He was like a king on 50s. And he used to take his, and he'd go down to the city, pull them out of the back of his truck, jump onto the GO train. Like you'd roll down to the city, go all the way down on the GO train, get off, go down to the Sky Dome and everything up here. And then he'd get back on and he'd sit there, him and his buddy. They'd bring them everywhere and they would go across the city,
Drink.
miles with these things. And I loved it. We used to do crazy mini rides.
That'd be
Now mini rides are just Groms and 110s.
yeah. I mean, Groms are popular. Everyone
Yeah.
loves Groms, but I've heard that is
Because,
super fun. Yeah,
but I like 50s. The original 50s are the best.
true.
They taught you a lot. For us, the 50 had like the drum brake, and you really had to know
A
you were
two-stroke?
push-
Was it a two-stroke
no, they were
with a
just
clutch?
the 50cc semi-automatic, so you
Like
had
a
a shifter
mini
but no
bike.
clutch. It's a
Oh,
the mini 50s.
oh my
So,
goodness.
and they used to have it's called the due date, and they did it in hold on here, Louisville, there, Louisville, Kentucky, and they
Huh.
used to have like a couple thousand mini bikes, the 50s. People would show up, and these guys would be like sitting on top of the handlebars, doing tricks like circling, like insane. That's where Gage, if you watch Gage's older stuff, he was insane with that. The 50, right? But he started on a 50, I think at like God, it'd been like 5 or 6, I think maybe. And he
That's
was one
crazy.
of the top kids.
I believe
Yeah,
it.
I
Yeah.
love them. 50s are they'll live forever in my heart. I don't have one anymore, but they'll definitely always live in my heart.
You definitely need to go down to Tractor Supply. Do y'all have Tractor Supply up there?
I
No?
think it's changed now. It's not Tractor Supply anymore for us.
Hmm. Well, you need to go down and buy you one. Like here, I could just like drive like 2 miles down the road to Tractor Supply, and you can buy like a 200cc Coleman mini bike and just drive that bitch
Oh,
right out the store.
we got that at Canadian Tire. I call it American Wheel, but it's called Canadian Tire.
Why do you say that? Are they imported wheels?
Well, no, Canadian Tire is it's like Harbor Freight, but like with a home. What's a Rona? You got like Rona down there? No, yeah, you got Rona.
Rona?
So like
What's that?
uh, Home Depot,
We got Home Depot.
Home Depot with like more automotive and sports shit.
Okay.
So that's like we have Canadian Tire. That's what that's like. but I call it an American wheel because obviously it's a Canadian Tire, American wheels. Wordplay shit, you know.
It's
But
loading. It's coming to me. It's coming to me. I'll get there. I'll get there.
Princess Auto. My boy
Or,
said
or
Princess
Royal
Auto.
King. I think it's called
Canadian Tire's
Royal.
Rural King. And then Princess Auto was like Harbor Freight.
Oh, Princess Auto.
Yeah.
Aren't you guys like subjects of a monarchy or some shit? That makes so much sense. That checks out, Princess
Hey,
Auto.
you know, so technically we're all colonized by a British Empire.
Okay, but
North
you know, we like
North
actually fought a war to
America,
not be that anymore. Like that was called the Revolutionary War.
right? So you had North America, but like think about it. The British, we don't even technically we don't talk to her. Our government does not go to her. So we're still technically under the British Empire, but we don't converse with her in the sense of like if it comes to healthcare or roads or
Because they don't
whatever
do
that
they don't actually do
no,
anything anyways. They're just
well,
there,
because
which is kind of
they
interesting.
originally owned the whole world,
Of course.
right?
But they don't have like no decision making power. They just like have all this money for no reason. That's crazy. And I lived in New Zealand for a while, for like 6 months. They're the same way. They're subjects of the same monarchy, and they like wake up every morning and like watch like British news and like Canadian news. Like I watched them do that, and they were like, "Oh,
So
this is something we got to keep up with."
Australia is the same way too. They
Yeah.
were British rule and they still are. That's why even is it Jamaica? Jamaica has white people on their money. And I asked them, I said,
Of course.
what is this? I'm like, boys, like, I don't get this. Why do you have white people all over your money? And he's like, well, because we were like British. I'm like,
Yeah.
so why wouldn't you guys be like independent and say, "Hmm." I'm like, when is this all going to happen? But because of the elitist in this world, it's always going to be how they want. And we're just, unless we like things, you know, then maybe things will change. But this world's never going to change because the people that want to pull the strings, right?
Yeah. To a point. Sometimes you got to decide like when to resist and when not to, you know? Like I already told you how I even ended up down here. Sometimes you got to like draw a hard line.
And I get that because that's why I didn't cross for through that whole situation from
Yeah.
2019
Yeah.
to last year. I didn't cross because of that situation. I didn't get that stuff. I'm not for it. I'm against all the crap that happens. I've been told I have a tinfoil hat, you know. And I'm just a nomad man who loves the land. You know, when I grew up, I was all about native culture and like medicine man and like being one with the earth. And, you know, I did coke for 10 years. I did a Asapi. I wrecked, died from it. I came back. I stopped doing drugs. I'm 6 years clean this year. And but the only thing I do is anything that's like natural to the earth, where you do not have to chemically alter it. You could like pick it off the ground, eat it, and you get something. I'm for that. You know, nothing that's gonna like you have to like. I'm not down with the bad shit anymore.
Yeah, nah,
You
I
know,
feel you on that for sure.
right?
Yeah.
Because that's it. It just keeps you in a loop as well. Keeps you in such a nasty loop where you can't get away from the stuff that keeps you in that loop. Like
Yeah.
debt, the matrix of debt, you know, like you're in that little bit of debt, but you're doing blow and E on the weekends and drinking. Well, you're never going to get fully out of that debt and you're going to stay in that trance because you're going to enjoy that time. I stopped thinking of weekends as weekends. It's just another day. Every day is a day.
Mhm.
That was a big thing. A lot of people have that issue. And that's why I took off and I went down for prison break. because I was sick and tired of saying, yeah, eventually I'll get there. You know, I just got to do this. I just got to do that. You know, I kept saying that.
Hmm.
And that's why I said screw it and I took off. Now I'm doing more events. I'm pushing myself to be where I want to be because
Hmm.
sitting behind those blankets and just going to work and being a drone is not for me. And my son actually wanted to go to the military, and up here it was like, eh. So he signed up, da 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 da, and he did some of his tests, and then they were gonna take him in after he was done high school, and then they never contacted him back. So I said, contact him again. And I think because of his non-vaccination, they said no. They didn't want to bring him in. So I don't know if maybe that's what they're doing in Canada. I haven't talked to anybody else in the forces up here, but it's crazy.
Maybe.
Why would you want you're sending people to literally go and, you know, be at war. They're gonna die anyways or possibly. So why are you worried about them having vaccination? Was it worried, oh well, we don't want to spread it to the people you go see? I think those people that are in war are a little more worried about other shit than fucking COVID or,
Hmm.
this or that. You know? But,
Yeah, it was more, I think, a litmus test to test like who will comply and who will
but
not, like whether it really was effective or not. Maybe we won't ever know, but yeah, like I said, as a soldier, I was just like, I've done a lot for this organization and like for my country, which is why I joined, like genuinely to serve like, my family, my friends, the people that live here. But I didn't join to just like comply with everything and like lose all bodily autonomy. That was not my goal. I obviously respect what other people do. Like if that's a decision they
yep,
made, cool. It just wasn't for me.
yep.
Like I want to have kids one day. I don't have kids yet, but like I just don't trust something that could like be problematic to fertility in that way. Like it's something we don't talk about that much in our culture, but there's a lot that can be, I think, can affect like your fertility for men or women. So we just don't know. But they started doing a lot of like weird funny shit after I like refused the vaccine, and it just like exposed a lot about like being in the military. Like I can talk about it now. I'm completely out, but I was even like silenced from like talking about it. Like I posted about it on my Instagram. That was obviously like 3 years ago now, and then like within an hour there was like someone from the state headquarters calling me like, you need to take that down. Like, and they literally said if you want to create a burner account you
Yeah.
can, and then you can post stuff like that. You just can't do it with anything that like has like your name or like your face. And again, it's like, we should still be allowed like the First Amendment. So yeah, that was kind of some bullshit. There was also a time when, sorry to get controversial on your
No, no,
podcast.
I
Hopefully
love
it's
it. Hey,
not
this is what we're
too
here for.
much.
Is to chat.
Yeah, hopefully it's not too much, but hey, controversy. Yeah, they created like a policy where as long as you go to like a therapist and they change your biological marker, then you can use whatever bathroom aligns to your biological marker. So I like raised my hand and like asked if like as a female, like if I feel unsafe literally like taking a shower with someone who just happens to have male or
Parts.
a penis or male genitalia, like what
Yeah.
if I feel unsafe in that environment? And one of the captains like looked me dead in the face and they're like, oh well, you should just set an alarm and shower at a different time then. And I was like, okay, got it. Like right in that moment it like clicked for me that I was like, oh okay, like this is not the same that I like joined when I was 17 years old under the Obama
Yeah.
administration, which like I said, definitely aging myself a little bit. But yeah, so, but the moral of the story, like the whole story is it did lead to me being down here and like shooting, and it took off crazier than I ever expected, all from like that one music
Yeah.
video. So, um, yeah, it's pretty crazy like how God's plan works, because something that can be like an unfortunate disappointment in your life oftentimes can turn out to be like the biggest blessing. So now when disappointments or setbacks happen, I'm like, it's good. Like this is
That's it.
just rerouting the GPS.
Yeah, I like that. Rerouting the GPS. That's all it is. 100%. It's giving you a better path, you know? And
That's
that's
it.
for myself. I've seen that. I've had it plenty of times. Uh, I've never steered away in my 12 years of the amount of wrecks and stuff I've had doing what I've done. You know, even after pretty much dying and being brought back, it's still like I know that this is my path. And because every time I go out, I get better and I push myself to be better and I push the people around me
Mhm.
that you know, I'm glad that I made the choice at the time I did. Even though I had a kid at a young age, I had a kid, I made decisions, I put all my time in and worked hard for my son, seen him as often as good, did all the drama stuff for years. And then when I got my bike, I picked up I picked up a 600, a 92 Ninja 600. And from there, it was like, okay, ride, 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 ride. And it just, I've blown up every time, every time. And I'm glad that I didn't do stuff when I was younger because now I'm getting to experience it as I'm older. And my son, he doesn't ride like I do, but he enjoys watching me and he pushes me to be better. He
Right.
actually put down the first $500 when I tried to like post up and get some extra funds to get the podcast down there. And he's like that. He's like, take $500. You need it, take it. He's like, go. He's like, I know you need to go. He's like, so go. And then I was on my back and I had some shit happen and I'm like, hey, I need a little action. He's like, yeah, yeah. He's like, here, send me more money. I'm like, all right, cool. And I come back and I started showing him everything that we did. And he's just like, man, that's crazy. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, next time you're coming with me, because the experience of going to the jail, it's
Yeah, you
not
gotta
right, even people in there and blah, blah, blah. But like the experience was just amazing and like creepy at night, very creepy at night,
I'm sure
you know,
it's haunted.
but everything that we do has a way we're supposed to go, I
Yeah.
mean, you call it fate, you call it God making the moves on the chessboard, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe he's messing with our tom tom. You want to talk about aging yourself? Let's go back to the tom toms.
The Tom. What's that? I don't know. What is that?
Okay, see now I'm aging myself.
Yeah,
It
you're
was like
aging
the
yourself.
original GPS. So like before we had
Oh
GPS
yeah,
in the dash,
the little
they were like this
Garmin,
thing.
the
The
Garmin or
Carmen, there
whatever.
you
Oh
go,
yeah,
Carmen.
yeah. Now I know what you're talking about. The, yeah, the
You're
old
good. You
GPS.
know,
Yeah. So tell me this, like when you're like at an event and you're like performing and stunting and then you see someone like me that's like there like with the camera, like what are like the thoughts that go through your mind in that moment?
honestly, I get excited. I like having pictures taken of me. I like it's like when you seen me out there with my phone and cameras like the GoPros and that. I'm not scared. I like to get right in close. Uh this year when I went, I was a little more I didn't get close with everyone just because I hadn't it's been almost 3 years since I've done stoppies on a big bike. So I love stoppies. I wanted to roll. I got to roll with Toller and all the guys, which was great. And rolling towards you guys, that's my favorite. I don't know why I just love rolling towards the excitement and to see how close you can get to someone before they like have a reaction
Yeah.
is great. So like Britton or Toller, one of the guys would roll up and I'll run so I'll watch where they're gonna be. So I'm like, okay, I know where approximately he's gonna stop. I'll run up and try to get to that spot and
Mm-hmm.
then I like bumping heads with people. They roll up, you knock their
Okay.
lid,
That's
and then
crazy.
their visor comes down. Now for you, because I see you guys off on the side, you know, if I see someone and I see you're getting closer, you're following that shot, I'll try to get that because for the candid shot, that's that candid shot, right? Uh,
Mhm.
I do it with my guy that I sent. Um, 1 second there, OJ. Um, we went down to Detroit and we did a ride out for a buddy of ours who passed last year.
Mhm.
And so we're out there, we're at this gas station, we're doing, I think, I get that phase. And he's doing stoppies up to the intersection. And the first thing I do is I stand right in the middle and I look at him, and he can see me from like quarter mile out. And he comes whipping up, rolls up, and I wait for that last second. He comes around me, and as he's going to drop, I smack his helmet. But the footage that I'm holding is awesome. The footage he's got, or like the other people have, is even crazier because now they're watching from that angle. So
No, that is crazy.
I get that vibe. I see you, and I'm like, okay, it's time to perform and do stuff that's wild. That's why I drift. My drift's left drift. I can drift all day long. I can slide. I can do this, that. So it's like right there, boom. Okay, someone wants shots. They're taking shots. I'll do a couple, and then I'll put myself off the side, let someone else go. Then I'll come back, do a few more. You know, even if I get the shots, if I don't get the shots given me, if you know, like if I pick them up or not, it's very just I'm giving someone time, they get shots in. That's your seat time. The more I come towards you and or do tricks near you, you're getting shots. So for me, I'm getting shots, but you're getting shots for your profile or portfolio. You're getting shots for the whole weekend. So
Mhm.
you're gonna post those up in like a group photo, or you're like do 3 or 4 shots in a collage, and that to me, I'm giving to you. That to me, I'm like, okay, I gave her something. She's got some more. They gave her more. She's got lots of footage to go through. You know, if she's going to post, she's got so much that she's now got to go through, and it just gives you more time. So for me, it's just feeding off of that energy. I'm there doing the same thing you're doing. You're just on the other side of the lens. That's it.
For sure.
Right.
Do you ever get nervous still when you're performing?
Uh, some days I get probably the first one of the year if I haven't done a show in a while, or an event, even being around friends. You're still, once a camera comes out, a lot of guys say they get nervous. I don't get that because I want it. I like being the face. I'm
Mhm.
a very hyper guy. I'm very uh, big vibes, very loud. I lost my voice like on the Friday, Saturday, before the freaking thing even started because I was doing so much during the week.
Mhm.
Uh, and even so many people say they call me the hype man, and I get that up here because I just like, being out there. I was actually I now do emceeing, like to start my guys on. They're rap artists up here, Toronto and Barrie area.
Mhm.
So they asked me this year. They're like, dude, they're like, you've been coming to our shows, and we want someone to introduce us, and you're just like you're the guy. So I
Mhm.
was like, okay, like that kind of goes with something I want to do. That's what the podcast is. It's an emceeing thing, journalism. It's that like getting in and getting with people. So I'm like, all right, cool. And then like a month after I came back from Jamaica, my boy who brought me to Jamaica is like, yo, bro, like, do you want to MC my shows this year? Like, hey. And I'm like, bro, like, fuck yeah, I'll MC your shows. Like,
Mhm.
that's amazing. Like, I would love to do that. I love making other people laugh. I like bringing up the vibe. I dance. I dance everywhere. Dancing is my thing. I'll just start vibing. A song comes on. So being in Jamaica was like people everywhere were like, bro, you haven't stopped dancing all week. I'm like, I know. It's like you guys want to party every day, you know?
Seriously.
So
Yeah, I love that.
I'm gonna lose you. If you'd like, we're gonna come back on here. Give it 2 seconds. Instagram has this thing of like 45 minutes to an hour.
Oh,
So
okay.
we
No
have a few people.
worries.
Give me a couple seconds and we'll bring you back on.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.